It's about time to set the record straight about this greenhouse. It's been a lot of questions about it, and I understand. This is my small, modest PalRam polycarbonate. What is polycarbonate? A form of plastic greenhouse. First, let's get this out of the way. Welcome back to Sandy Bottom Homestead, everybody. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I did a video last year about this greenhouse, and I talked about, you know, the truth behind it and what to expect from it. And what my worst fear is that it would steer people away from getting a greenhouse. And it's, you know, ever since then, it's kind of gone, and a lot of you are here because of that video, which I'm appreciative of, and I thank you. But I want to set the record straight on that because it came across as if I was bad-mouthing it. And I'm not bad-mouthing it. What I'm doing is I was telling you, this is the deal. This is what you can expect. But in return, those things that you can expect that sound like I was bad-mouthing are actually the qualities I like about this greenhouse. I like being limited. I like not having the freedom to do whatever I want in this greenhouse in the wintertime. And I like the challenge. You know, I do gardening for a number of reasons, and one of the big reasons is the challenge that it provides me in my day-to-day life. And then you tackle that with trying to manage YouTube, and the challenge goes through the roof. So there is that. Reason why this is on my mind, one, because that video is getting traction once again, but because I'm out here and I'm getting the greenhouse ready to plant in. It sits derelict all summer. It's not being used. It's not really, nothing's going on in it, and that's quite all right, but we got to get it ready. And I wanted to kind of touch base on that, and then at the same time kind of go over what the deal is with the greenhouse and stuff like that. So the first thing I need to do is, you see, obviously you can see the yellowness on here. Let me lick my finger and just see how that cleans right up. So we're gonna come out and clean all of the panels off because, I mean, look at how much light can get in there now. So we've got to do that, basically the entire thing. I mean, the whole thing. It's really bad on the outside. On the inside, not too bad, but we still do it just to save face. But this is a low light period. It's going to let a lot more light in. And, you know, it's the best we can do. You know, as far as that goes, I may have or may have not said in that video, can't really remember. To be honest, I didn't go back and watch it. This greenhouse in this section doesn't get a lot of light. And so you know, in the winter time up until about January 15th is when it really starts to kick and we really start to see growth. So, you know, we'll get some stuff now, we'll get it going. It'll sit dormant for about a month, and then boom, it'll start growing again. And knowing that is kind of, you know, really helped us to prepare to build this greenhouse out and grow in it the way we do. And I love growing in this thing. Don't get me wrong. Clearly, I wish there was more space, but look, I'm growing with more ease right now, well, not now, but in the winter time than I normally would be. Now, getting the garden, getting it ready in here, the greenhouse, the bedding in here is really the first and foremost issue. It doesn't get watered at all in the summertime, not one bit. And I know I showed in a couple videos ago our kale plants, and now that we've started watering, look how they've come back. And so, I mean, first of all, it's amazing that they didn't get a drop of water for the entire summer, and they're still here. I mean, yay, plant life, right? But we came in here, and because we use a drip system, it doesn't really get the surface very wet. So what we did is we went ahead and mulched a little bit early, and then we water periodically just to kind of keep it damp underneath, and then help it to soak in more water, because the fear is the soil would become hydrophobic. I've got an abnormal amount of comments about people who are using this greenhouse to start seedlings and stuff like that, and that's great. I mean, look, when you're growing one of these greenhouses and you're using it, you do whatever you want in it. I don't care what you do. But I will say this, we can grow in this greenhouse, and we'll go back in a second and kind of show you how we do it, about 400 seedlings and basically a 4x8 bed in there. So we can do all of that in that little greenhouse versus putting shelves top to bottom and having seedlings growing in there and all that stuff. I do not like growing certain seedlings in here because I can get them started in my house way sooner and get them, and they're nice and healthy. I've not noticed any huge abnormal, you know, differences between seedlings grown in the house and then brought out here or raised in here. I haven't noticed it, and it's not really worth it to me. We have our homestead garden, as you can see, which is going to be growing again. And all that is just moving some beds over that didn't really work out for us. We have it planned out to the day that it gets planted and the seeds and everything. So we don't use the greenhouse for that, for most seeds. There are some which I will go over right now. Can't really see, I'm drying my corn in here because it gets hot. But once this corn goes, we'll get this shelf cleared. And then we've got these 2 water tanks, which we'll come back to in a minute. Because of the seed cells that we use, we can fit 200 to 300 seeds on this small shelf alone. Okay, and then we can fit another 200 on these, 100 on each of those roughly, or combined, however we want to do it. So we have space to do that. The seeds that I really like to grow in here, I really like are flowers, things that need to be cold stratification. And if you want a video on that, just comment below. I'm not going to get into it and keep this video as short as I possibly can. I'm a little long-winded. You know, it is what it is. So we do that. We've always tried to do some kind of really cold tolerant vegetable and start it in here so we can plant it out. So we will do that as well, like broccoli or cabbage or something like that. And then as the spring comes and we start moving those cold stratified seeds out and those flowers and stuff, then we'll start to do more, you know, cooler vegetables, and then we can do some hardening off in here. So we do use it a bit, but we don't want it, this is not the focus of it, is for starting seeds. I'm not concerned about that at all. Promise you, just a second ago we talked about these tanks. These are my heating elements in this, for this greenhouse. These are 2 15-gallon water tanks, painted black and then filled with water. So this time of year we come and we check and make sure that they're filled with water. And let's see, just real quick. Yeah, it's filled. So what we'll do is, it's probably got some sludge in. I'll probably just pour some like bleach in there or something. I mean, it doesn't even really matter. I'm not using the water, you know, but just to make you feel a little bit better. So we'll do that, and that raises the inside of the greenhouse to about 4 to 5 degrees above our low night temperatures. Something I really wanted to talk about. When this video started going, you know, I don't ask for anything from you guys. I don't ask for a subscribe. I don't ask for, like, obviously it's appreciated, but I don't ask for that. And I wasn't asking for advice on heating my greenhouse. I got those tanks for free. I painted them black. I've tested how to use 5-gallon buckets, this, that, and the other. I mean, I need to be completely honest with you. It's a $700 greenhouse. I'm not gonna put another $700 and $1,000 into it to heat it. I'm not running power from all the way out there to here for $1,000 to heat this small structure and to waste my money. I'm not going to do it. And I appreciate everybody saying, well, you could do this and you could do that. You're right, I could, but I'm not going to. I like what I have set up in here. I like the way that it functions. I like what it does. I like the limitations, like I started out the video with. So we've got it so it stays a little bit warmer. That's great. As far as for this time of year, you know, keeping the greenhouse cool is a real struggle. You guys know, if you've got a greenhouse or you're just greenhouse curious, you need to, I mean, that's why it stays derelict all summer. It's just too hot. So what I do is I come out this time of year and I just make sure that, like, my solar fan's working. And I'm glad I did, because there was a little frog, unfortunately, that got stuck in there and it wasn't working. So, you know, we had to get him out, started working. There's no sun today, so it's not running. But what I have noticed is, I don't think my arm here, this is a wax filled arm, it's automatic. So as it warms up, the wax expands, it opens up. They go bad over time, and it looks, yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that. it looks like the wax has been leaking out, so we may actually have to replace that. I've noticed it's not getting as big. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but the thing is the heat rises and then it goes out. And then we put this louver window in last year, which kind of brings in a little bit more flow. I would have put it in the back there, but in my judgment, I don't know if it was good or not, but I didn't do it. And because my prevailing winds generally come from this direction, so it flushes the air in and then it can push it right out. You just need to make sure that all of those systems are in place and they're functioning right. Now in that video, I may or may not have, again, I don't remember, I've put shade cloths in and on top of the greenhouse. I don't like that, okay? I don't like it. It's a pain in the butt. It doesn't really cool it enough to even make a difference. I mean, like, seriously, it cooled it by 10 or so degrees. Now, if you use a shade cloth out here, it makes a big difference. But if you use a shade cloth in here, the reason why it doesn't make a big difference is because the air gets trapped in here, okay? Now, I can hear people right now tapping on the keyboard. Well, you could take the panels out. Well, I've tried that, and you can't take the panels out. First of all, you have to basically disassemble the whole roof to take the panels out, and I don't want to do that because it's a huge pain in the ass. And the other thing too is when you get a structure like this, it's engineered so like each piece is part of the structure, right? So if you eliminate something like this, it just makes it a little bit weaker, and that's not something I really want to do. So I just came to the conclusion that, like, hey, we won't use it in the summertime, and I'm really like 100% okay with that. It does not bother me a bit. So, you know, the shade cloth inside was worse because the heat would just get trapped and bounce up and down. Put it on top of the greenhouse and it was okay, but still, it just didn't work great. So, you know, as far as that goes, like in the summertime, I just don't use it. It's not a big deal. And again, I kind of like not using it because I don't want to go in there and work. It's really nice to not go in there in the summertime, but it's really nice to go in there in the wintertime. Man, look at that. That is so dirty. I'm actually really excited, believe it or not, to clean it off. And it's on both sides on the door too. There you go. You can see it makes a difference. So what actually, and I forgot to tell you, what I use is I'll use like a soft scrubby pad or even a sponge with Dawn soap and just scrub it down, wipe it down, and that stuff comes right off of it. It's not a big deal. You don't want to use anything real abrasive. So other than, you know, cleaning it, getting it weeded, which is, you know, over the years has gotten a lot better, and then just going through it and just staying on top of it, getting it watered and getting it prepared. The only thing left to do at this point is just wait for the outside temperatures to cool a bit, because if we direct sow, we might have a little bit of issues just simply because it's too hot for the seeds to germinate. We are actively watering in it now. We're hand watering to get the topsoil wet, but we also have the irrigation going in there so that it's underneath it is nice and damp and it's good to grow in. So we're doing all that. But, you know, I just didn't want people to be confused about what I thought about this greenhouse and how I like using it and if I even liked it. I, for the record, absolutely love this little crappy greenhouse. It is great. It fits me. It's affordable. It does what I want it to do. And I don't want to grow tomatoes in December. I just want to have my winter vegetables, and I want to grow and enjoy them, and this really fixes it. So if there was any confusion about that, hopefully it is gone.